Hi, I'm Allison Cardy of cardycareercoaching.com, and this is the first supplemental training of the Step-by-Step Career Change e-course. If you just happened upon this video and you don't know what I'm talking about in terms of the total e-course, please go to cardycareercoaching.com/e-course with no hyphen, and you can sign up for a free week-by-week training course, e-course, on how to go about changing careers. In the course, I provide very doable step-by-step actions that you can take each week to make progress on improving your career direction. So today's supplemental training is called Getting the Most Out of This e-course. And what I'll be doing is just orienting you to the total course so you know what to expect. I'll also be going over the full arc of the material that we're going to be covering. And finally, I'll take care of cluing you in to the most effective attitudes and behaviors that you can take to really succeed as you go through the material. Before I get to all of that, I just want to very briefly introduce a bit of my background and also what I do. So I'm a career coach, and for years I have specialized in working in a very specific area of career coaching, and that is helping people through career changes. So what I do is I take people who are dissatisfied with their career in some way, and they want to make an improvement, but they're getting stuck. Either they don't know what they want to be doing next, or they don't know how to figure it out, or they might have a hint of maybe what's coming down the pipeline, but they're just really stalling out on taking action and moving forward. So my sweet spot is really getting people through that stuck period so that they can get on with their lives and careers and head in an improved direction. My goal is always to help people to get more clarity, to gain momentum, and to make progress with their careers. Over the years, I have worked with hundreds of clients on career changes. And what's a bit unique about me is that I've worked with people across all sorts of industries. Pretty much any industry that you can imagine, I've worked with somebody in that field. And I also work across ages and across continents. So I work with people in the States where I live and also internationally, both men and women, and it's just anybody who's feeling stuck and really wants to make progress but isn't quite sure how to go about that. I often tell people it's sort of natural to get stuck when you're thinking about a career change because it's not something that you go through every day. So it's really easy to get sort of twisted up and turned around about how to go about this, to think yourself into circles. And my goal is always to straighten out those different strands of possibilities to set you on a clear course forward. Recently, I brought on a team of coaches to support me in working with my clients. So these are people who I've hand-selected who are phenomenal coaches in their own right. They've also gone through a training with me, and I supervise their work with my clients. In addition to having all this wonderful training and experience, they are great people. They're all the things that you would want in a coach. Somebody who's caring, attentive, non-judgmental, and also very on the ball. I want to also just briefly orient you to my philosophy as a career coach. I think out in the world there are some strong positions that people take about career. Some folks say you've got to do what you love. That's the way to career success. Other people say you've got to really pay attention to how you can make money and build up security, and that's going to be the path to success. What's unique about me is I don't take either of those stances. Myself and my team meet you where you are in terms of what's most important to you and to your priorities in life right now. And we try to build a plan to help you get the most of what you want moving forward. We're also very practically focused. So that means we're not going to send you off into huge dreamland where you never take any action or move forward. It's really important to me to see people make progress, and sometimes that does mean making compromises, kind of hanging out in the middle of those extremes and building towards a career path that's really fulfilling for you. Lastly, I just wanted to mention a bit about the clients that I work with. My clients are well-educated, smart, responsible people who show up to work every day, who also show up to client appointments every time we make them, and they're really a joy to work with. So people who I work with are, as I mentioned, just feeling stuck, and even though they're really good at a lot of things in life, like I said, a career change is something that doesn't happen very often, and they just need a bit of guidance for how to get through it and into a better career path. So, with all that said, you can learn more about my work and my team and sign up to get coaching from us at cardicareercoaching.com/coaching. So, let me dig into the heart of the material today. I want to tell you a bit about what to expect from the course, like I said, the big arc of what the course material covers, and then also some helpful attitudes and behaviors. So first, what to expect. Each week, for the next 6 months, you're going to receive an email from me that will contain a very doable action step. A while ago, a colleague of mine had a wonderful blog post where she wrote about, she used to write her to-do lists like plan party, fix roof, like these really, really big tasks. And I think for a lot of you, you might have on your to-do list change career or improve career, and it's too big. What we need to do is break it down into a more doable element to make it easier for you to do. So, for example, for plan party, it might be order cake, send out invitations, pick the date of the party. And for changing a career, there are similar, smaller steps that you can be taking that are very doable, things that you can get done in the space of 5 minutes or under 30 minutes if you just knew what they were and knew what those most effective steps were. So in the course, what I've done is taken my years of experience working with clients, and I've broken down the procedure that I guide them through into bite-sized chunks. This week, just do this. Don't worry about anything else. The next week, just do this. I've alternated the steps that you'll be taking between action and reflection. So one week, I'll have you do something physically in the real world. The next week, I'll have you do a bit of reflection to just get you ready to keep taking action. You can also expect a couple of supplemental trainings like this to be present in the program. And these are to help you through some of the sticking points that might come up. A lot of times with career changes, a big part of it is getting your psyche on board. So in the videos or calls, I can go into a bit more detail on how to do that. That will go beyond just a quick action step. Finally, in the emails, I also include some recommended reading, and these are my most popular and most helpful blog posts that I've written over the past years, just to give you some more food for thought if you desire. At any point, if you want to raise your hand and get some extra help with your particular situation, there will always be a big button at the bottom of the emails where you can sign up to get connected to talk about one-on-one coaching for yourself. So that's what to expect for the e-course. I will note it's 6 months long, and then once you finish the course, you will have the option to repeat it. So if you want to do it all over again and really keep on track, you will have that option. In terms of the big arc of what's involved in the program, let me lay it out for you. The program follows my book, Career Grease: How to Get Unstuck and Pivot Your Career. And in the book, I describe the way career changes happen. The first thing that happens is we want to identify what's most important to you. From there, we're going to make a career hypothesis about what would be a good career path for you. Next, we're going to test that hypothesis. And I always like to describe this as dipping your toe in the water as opposed to jumping off the high dive into the deep end. We just want to test it out to see if we're on the right path. at which point we can either revise the hypothesis based on the original set of criteria, or we can say, this is sounding good, let me move forward. After that, what you would do is make a plan to move into that next field. And that could be things like getting more education, revising your resume, maybe picking up an internship, something that's going to move you towards that next step. And sometimes when we think about making a longer-term plan, we're going to think about it in terms of short-term and long-term goals. So it may be we need to just get you out of a current bad situation before we can even really pay attention to your ideal situation. So sometimes we'll have a short-term goal to just shift a little bit, and then that will build towards the longer-term goal. All along the way of this process, as I mentioned earlier, your brain is going to jump in and try to get in your own way. So a big part of the course, my book, and also my coaching is handling those softer things that come up. Things like mindset, fear, social environment, finding the right action step, holding yourself accountable. All of those things are part of the course and also part of what I do when I work with clients. So the steps are pretty straightforward. That doesn't mean they're always easy to complete, but that's the big arc of what we're going to be covering in the Step-by-Step Career Change e-course. And each week I'll break down those steps into much smaller, doable pieces so that you can really move forward. The last thing I want to go over are some helpful attitudes and behaviors that you could embody as you go through this course to get the most out of it. The first is to show up and try with imperfection. So there's a couple ways you can take that. For showing up, what I mean is open your email every week so that you can see what that action step is. Another way you could interpret showing up is to attempt the action step. Even if it doesn't go perfectly, even if you're not sure, it doesn't quite feel right, just try to do the step that I'm suggesting. And then the second part, to show up with imperfection, is to allow yourself to not do it perfectly. So if there's a really busy week at work, or everybody in your family's sick and you just don't get to a particular week, I don't want you to feel like, oh, I didn't do this, therefore the whole course is out the window, I shouldn't try anymore. Just let that week go, move on to the next week's item, and try again. Recommit to the course. And while I do think every step in the 6 months is going to be helpful for you, if you miss one or two or a handful along the way, don't beat yourself up. Just let that go, pick up with the next step that you can, and keep going forward. Similarly, if you try some of the steps and you feel like, I can't quite get to this yet, I can't quite follow through. Again, don't beat yourself up. Just let this go, move on to the next step, keep opening the emails until you find a step that you can succeed with, and keep trying. Even taking a few of the steps that I recommend are going to be helpful for you. So, first thing, show up and just try, allowing for imperfection in the process. The second attitude that I want you to know is to expect discomfort and be willing to move through it. So for everybody who I've ever worked with on a career change, there are some unfamiliar, uncomfortable elements just because of the nature of a career change. You're going from one area where you're very comfortable and familiar into a new area where you may not know exactly what to expect. So there's naturally going to be a bit of discomfort there. Expect it. Know that it's coming. When you get an email from me that has a step and you go, that feels a little uneasy, know that that's okay. That's part of the process. Try to pull up your courage, try to pull up your bravery, and try to push through that discomfort. It will go away if you move through it. So that's the second idea. Know that there's going to be some discomfort around this. I'm never going to have you do anything that's like totally terrifying, but there will be a little bit, and just think, okay, Allison said this was coming. I'm gonna try to move through it anyway and get to the other side. Because once you move through it, it won't be uncomfortable anymore. It's when you hang out at that beginning stage before the discomfort, that's when the discomfort grows and grows and grows. But if you see it, expect it, move through it, the discomfort goes away. The third idea is to pull the trigger. A lot of my clients, and you may relate to this, are very good at analyzing, at overthinking, at seeing all the different possibilities of what's going to happen from any one action that they take. And I would encourage you, when you get an email from me, to read through what it says. If it makes sense to you and you're okay with doing it, pull the trigger fast. Don't let it sit in your head. Don't let yourself stew on it for a couple of days. Just see what it says, take the step, pull the trigger, and get through it. That's going to really help you make progress, as opposed to overanalyzing and overthinking everything, which is going to stall you out. Take a little bit of my advice. Recognize that I've been through so many more career changes than you have, just from my experience and working with my amazing clients. And like I said, use your judgment, but I'm not going to ever ask you to do something that is unreasonable or unhelpful. So try to take that action quickly. Try to get the email and then get it done. If you have time scheduled for later in the week, that's okay, but don't let your brain kind of swirl on it. Just see the action and try to take it quickly. And that brings me to the very last behavior or attitude that I think will be most helpful for you as you're going through this course. And that is to recognize the signs that you need some help. And it's totally fine to need help with this process. It can be tricky, it can be intimidating, it can bring up fear. And having a support, somebody who is more experienced, who can guide you through it, who can keep you accountable and keep you moving, can be wonderful. Recently I was talking with one of the coaches on my team, and she had been through a career change, and she said, oh my goodness, now I really understand the value of career coaching. I spent years on my own trying to solve this, and if I had just asked for help and gotten support from somebody who does this and works in this, I could have gotten through it so much faster. So really recognize if you need support and know that it's totally okay. It's okay to do it by yourself. It's okay to take time. That's fine if that's what you want to do. But if you do want to make progress, you want to get through the different steps a lot more faster and with a lot more ease, please reach out for help. Here are some signs to look for. 1, if you are not taking any of the steps. You see what I'm saying, you understand them, but you're having a lot of trouble pulling the trigger. That's a great time to reach out for help. If you notice that you keep making excuses, again, you think, oh, I'll get to that later, but you never seem to get it done, that's another sign. If you find yourself talking in circles around taking the steps, but you're not doing it, again, coaching is a great source of relief for that. We can guide you through the steps with a lot more specificity to your particular situation. Another thing to consider is if you're having a lot of emotional charge around the work. So if you're feeling very frustrated, if you're feeling upset, you're feeling extremely anxious or scared or nervous. Some of those things are going to happen as you go, but if you're feeling a lot of those things, that's a great time to get some extra support as well. My goal in providing this course is really to help the world, to make a difference, to help the world be a better place. So I hope the course in isolation can get you pretty far, but I recognize that the course is sort of like a massage chair that can hit some of the points just from my experience in working with so many clients, but there's a difference between a massage chair and a masseuse, somebody who can really meet you as an individual and as a person and dig into those points where you're having the most trouble. So know that we're here for you at any point if you want some extra support, if you see yourself stalling out, feeling very emotional, or you just want to go through it faster, we are certainly here and happy to help. Just go to cardicareercoaching.com/coaching, or in the e-course emails at the bottom, there will always be a button. If you click that button, you can get set up to work with us right away. So that is everything that I think you need to know to succeed in this course. Remember to show up, try even imperfectly, expect some discomfort and try to move through it, pull the trigger on taking action, and recognize when you need some extra help, and please ask for it. That's what we're here for, and we're more than happy and prepared to help you. I just have one quick note. I don't provide any free personalized coaching over email, so if you're having a concern about your particular situation, the best thing to do is to sign up to work with us one-on-one. However, if you're having a logistical issue with the emails, like the links aren't working, you can always just reply to them and we'll get back to you about that as quickly as we can. Finally, I do want you to know that it's possible to improve your career. I think you're going to get some great momentum from this e-course. If you ever want any extra help, know that we're here and ready to serve you. I've seen client after client work through this process. It's not always a straight line. Sometimes we zig a little bit as we're going through it, but it is possible to connect to that next career step that's going to be a good fit for you, to move through the obstacles and the discomfort that are involved in getting to that next place, and then winding up in a career situation that you are much, much happier with. So get to it, take the steps, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!